Hi, everyone, and welcome to this conversation on what it takes to start your own publishing company. Hi, Colleen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So, first off, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're up to in the world.
Sure. So my name is Colleen Reagan Noon, and I have two little boys. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and we moved about a year and change ago from Massachusetts down to Florida. And along with our move, kind of came a bigger business shift for me. I've historically been my background's in early childhood education, was a birth and parenting educator. And I've now recently started my own publishing company, and we've released our first book. I'm working on both my second and third books right now, and it's just been kind of a really exciting past year.
Yeah, I should say so. So let's go back to before you had a best-selling book on Amazon. Yeah, because that happened in
Yes,
December.
yes, it did.
So, um, when you were considering starting your own publishing company, what was your number one concern?
Oh, it. I mean, it seemed bigger than something that I would be able to accomplish. And just starting it too in the pandemic, having at least one of my children, he's home with me 100% of the time. The other one goes to school for a couple hours, but was mostly there. And it was like, is this something I'm really going to be able to do? Because you hear publishing company and you think big, you think busy. It seems kind of scary. So for me, that was kind of my biggest thing of I'm a I'm a a stay-at-home mom, but also a working mom, and I already have this business. And is this something I'm really going to be able to add in and have time for?
I'm glad you brought this up. So tell me about, because I get it. I've got little ones too, and most of my clients do. I mean, this is what we do, yeah.
Yeah.
So about how many hours have you been working per week over the last 3 or 4 months?
Um, I almost hate to admit this out loud. Not not very many. Um,
I love it.
I mean, it would depend on the week. I had like a couple busy weeks. Like there was the weeks where I had probably 3 sales calls a day over, 5 days, and there was like a 2-week stretch of that. Which even then they're half-hour sales calls. So it wasn't a ton of time, but that was like kind of the busiest time. The other busiest time was kind of right before the book came out, getting it all finalized and edited and formatted, all coordinating all of that. Was a really busy week. But for the most part, with my other work as well, I'm probably working 6 to 10 hour weeks.
Hello. Okay. So I like this. This makes me so happy. and once you dove in, you really dove in. You had a clear vision for the book you wanted to do. It had been in your heart for a while. Yeah, it was so
Yes,
specific. Um, do you think that having that specific of a book helped you sell the spots?
I do. I absolutely do. And it was one of those things too. At first, I was kind of nervous because you seemed like you really had this direction and this plan and exactly knew what for people to do. And mine didn't seem to mesh 100% with that. And so I was a little nervous of, is this going to work? Am I deviating too far off the plan? And it ended up it ended up being totally on the plan. I don't know why in my head I was thinking it was so different, but like that's what it seemed at first. And um, but it absolutely helped me sell in 2 ways, in that I knew exactly who I was looking for. I was very clear on who I was looking for. The people that I then was targeting were so passionate about this subject as well that they were like, yes, heck yes, I'm in, because this is so niche to me and something I really care about.
Yeah, it's true. Anytime a woman has had a VBAC, it's like you're going to know it. It's going to come up in the conversation, right? And I do. I remember you sending me a message going, are you sure I should go with this book or should I come over here? It's like, no, you're passionate about it. It's specific. People can self-identify. It's like a fire topic. So let's talk about the people who were who the contributors in this book are. Did you know them? Did you have a warm market? Were you were you just selling to people you'd already cultivated a relationship with, or were they mainly cold?
No, they were mainly cold. So most of, the previous work I had done, it was all very local to Massachusetts. And then it was all parents who were either having, birth or had toddlers. They were no one who kind of either fit the demographic or would have an interest in writing about this. So it was 100% cold market. I have an email list of, people all in Massachusetts that don't apply that I didn't even send anything to. So it was just really from nothing.
And I love how you did not let this stop you. Okay, so from the time we started working together to the time you sold out the book, it was so short. I still remember the day you posted in Messenger, my last spot is gone, or the book is full or something. And I was like, I had whiplash. Most people, they would take a year to do what you accomplished. I think you did most of the work in 18 days. Yeah.
Yes, I did. The bulk of it took me, I started off kind of really, I felt like I started off well, and then there was a lull where I didn't really know what to do in what direction. I was trying different things and wasn't sure. But once I kind of found that thing that worked, yes, it was 3 weeks, pretty much all sold out in that 3 weeks, other than the few people I had before. And then was awesome is since it was so niched down into what it was, people were so passionate about it that they had their chapters in no time flat, which is why, the idea for this formed in September and the book came out in December. So this was a really quick turnaround, and it didn't feel pushed. It didn't feel pressured.
No.
It didn't feel pushed. It was just this natural timeline, and it just came together so beautifully.
It really did. And, I like what you said, because you were open to experimenting a few different things. Obviously, there's a million ways to get clients, right? There's a million ways to find the people. But you experimented, but then you found this hot, it just clicked with you. It was your thing, and you just drilled down and went for it. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the launch. What happened when the book came out? How did that feel?
So the launch was really fun, and we had there's different categories on Amazon that our book was in that we knew we were going to be in, and I kind of scoped out too which ones were the hard ones, which ones were the easy ones, and I thought we were going to get all of them except for one. There was one that was just, I was like, it's a really hard one. We're not going to get it, but it's going to be fun. And so the day of, everyone was so excited. Everyone had their teams ready to go. They had, all their doula friends and birth worker friends, everyone was ready to buy it. And so the day of, there was just this great buzz and this great energy, and everyone just on this chat together and so excited about it. And we were so determined to get number one in the motherhood category. That was our holy grail, and we're we need to get it. And so we start the day, and we hit number one in a couple, and we're okay, that's great, motherhood, really want that motherhood one. It was just so fun too. We were just all so on board with this, and so the whole day watching those sales just pour in, and watching all every category we're getting number one in this and number one in that, and we hit that night number one in motherhood, and it was just it was just such an amazing, surreal experience. And for everyone in the book just to be so excited, and then you see them posting on Facebook, and they're like, I'm a number one bestseller, and we're number one bestseller in all these different categories. And we actually did so well in most of our categories that we also got number one in the parent category of these categories. So we really did a full sweep. We hit number one with most of our authors in the US. We hit number one there, and then also in Canada. where we had 2 authors. So it was just really an exciting, exhilarating experience, unlike anything I've ever experienced before.
I love it. It is. It's such a high. It's so much fun, and everybody's in it together.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the experience that it was for your contributors. Did you see them grow? Did you see opportunities happen after the book came out? What's that been like?
So yes, I mean, I've had some of them who I can't even believe like where they are now, what they're doing now, and what this has inspired them to do, and like how they've taken like a leadership role on it. That's been amazing. They've been asked to be on podcasts. They're now much more known in their birth world circuit. A lot of them, it's a lot of what the work they do is locally. And so now they've made all of these connections. They've made connections and admins of these big Facebook groups of potential clients. And that's been so exciting for them. But one of the biggest things has been, I have a few contributors who experienced some really difficult circumstances while the book was coming out. And it was one of those things where you kind of think like, oh my gosh, like they're going to pull out of this. Like they've got, and it was more than one time, like they've got this really big thing going on. I'm worried they're going to pull out, but then I start getting emails and they're like, this is the only thing I have for me. This is, the only good thing that has happened this year. This is what like I'm living for right now. And like, it's been so nice to like be able to not think about everything else that's going on in my life right now and to just focus on this. And just like, I don't know, like hearing that, I mean, it makes me feel good that it's something that, but also it kind of changed my mindset of thinking of, that mindset you always have of like, oh, I'm bothering everyone. Maybe that's just me. Like, oh, I'm bothering everyone. And so just so to hear though, that like, I'm not bothering everyone. They want to be in this and be part of this. And it is doing something big and rich for their lives that they're not able to get anywhere else right now. And so that was just this really big aha moment for me of how big this really is of an opportunity for everyone who's in it.
That is the best. I mean, when you hear your contributors and your clients talking about how it's like the shining moment in their life and the highlight of their year, like it's all worth it, right? You really begin to see the role that you have.
Yeah.
So tell me about your upcoming books.
So I am going to be doing 2 books at once next time, which I'm really excited about. So I'm going to do Home Birth After Hospital Birth. And so that one's going to kind of be in a similar vein of the VBAC book. It's going to have a mix of professionals and moms. And then also kind of in the similar way of having professionals and moms, but a little bit different since it's not birth, is fertility journeys. And the people we already have that have signed on for that book just have these amazing stories. And then I actually have 2 contributors from my first book who are going to be in that book. One's a professional, one's a mom. And they're like, what can we do to kind of like, be leaders in this time around? And like, so they've really kind of taken this great role of, finding people that they think have amazing stories that they want in this book. So that book is kind of being filled without me really doing much, which is kind of exciting.
It really is. I remember telling you all that really the first book is the main book that you sell. And then after that, the word really spreads and your contributors begin to talk about it, the referrals, it just, all of these dots begin to connect and you realize, oh, I'm getting into the networks of these people and
Right.
they are connected to so many good people who have great stories to tell. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So tell me, when you look over the last 3 months at what you've created and what you have, I mean, you just took this by the horns,
Yeah.
What do you think was the greatest growth that you personally went through?
I think it was probably the reaching out to people. Like I said, I'm always worried I'm bothering people. And so it was just that, yeah, like that kind of worry of like, oh my gosh, am I disturbing these people? But the greatest growth is kind of realizing that no, like everyone was like sitting there waiting for this opportunity. My rate of people that I reached out to, absolute cold call reached out to, then hop on a sales call to was, a really high number. And then those that converted to wanting to be in the book was also a really high number. And then those that I didn't hear from, I'm now hearing from that are like, oh my gosh, I'm just seeing this contact now and I really want to be a part of this and hear this. And I have one of them who's going to be in one of my next books because she also kind of fit the theme for one of the next books. So it was just from an email that first time around. So I think that was my biggest growth, is realizing, I have an opportunity that I'm sharing. I'm not bothering people.
So true. It's an incredible opportunity. And I love how you had that shift, it's this invitation that people really want. They want to receive it.
Yeah.
So how many books do you see yourself doing next year? What's your vision for 2021?
Oh man. So my vision for 2021 is a little bit to kind of see where the wind takes me, which I kind of love about this publishing, the multi-author book publishing concept, because I feel like I'm not like nervous about like this big marketing plan and this big strategy, and I have to have it all laid out, because I'm like, I know the formula of what I'm doing, and all I have to do is execute it. And then once one book's full, whatever idea kind of comes to mind next, or even one of these ideas I didn't even have, someone in my other book was like, this is what you need to do a book about. And so I'm like, oh, great idea, let's do it. And next thing I know, like, it's happening. So it's that's what I really love about this, because I got to tell you, I am not the most organized person. I am not the best at following there are some people, they lay out their whole year and they execute it and it's beautiful, and props to those people. But I am definitely more of a like, let's see where I am in life. Let's see, how much the children are eating right now, and like where I can ebb and flow with that. So I love that, like, right now I have the time and the energy to do 2 books at once. I know, I'm going to stay in the birth and parenting space, and I have this whole list of books I want to do. But then for the next book after that, it's going to kind of be, see where the space is for it. Do I want to do 2 at once again? Do I want to just do 1? So I really love that about this business model, is that there doesn't need to be an enormous master plan.
So true. One of my favorite things is keeping it simple. Yeah. And it's like, you had such a simple sales process. It didn't require 6 to 12 months of rapport building and all of this back and forth and email lists and webinar series. It was so straightforward and so simple. And you're right. You already know the steps. You have the structure and the system in place, and you know how to plug into it. And you don't have to have a complicated, strategy.
No, and and originally too, the very first thing I did, I was like, I need to create which you told me not to do, but I was like, I need to create a sales page. And so I spent, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many hours on this like sales page about it that like 3 people looked at. And then I have a website for all my birth and parent education stuff that I haven't put a single thing up there about my books yet. And so I have 1 book that I fully filled, sold out, published. I have 2 more that are well on their way of filling up, and it's not even on a website anywhere yet. So like that was kind of mind blowing to me, is that like you really don't need all of this stuff. And so, being worried about like, oh gosh, like, do I have this and the time for that? And it really is, it's so simple. Like I mean, most of my sales I did with Google and Gmail. And like that was it.
And your little one on your lap by your side.
Yeah. Yes. he was right with me. He was on a lot of calls, crashed a lot of calls.
I love him.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
Colleen, watching you has been an amazing journey because I know that you had to bet on yourself. You had to believe in yourself first and foremost.
Yeah.
You have been so teachable. You just jump on board, you put all of yourself in. And I mean, what you have accomplished and the people you've brought with you, it's been amazing to witness. So congratulations on all of your success and
Thank
to a
you.
wonderful year ahead of you.
Yes, I'm really excited to see what this year brings.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I know you probably have dinner next, so have a wonderful rest of your night, and here's to an incredible 2021.
Same to you, and thank you so much for bringing this opportunity into my life.
I'm glad that, you know, I spoke it, you saw it, and here we are connected. I mean, it feels
Exactly.
like it's just totally what you were born to do.
Yes, I really feel that.
Excellent. All right. Well, I shall talk to you soon.
All
Until
right.
next time. Bye.
Bye.